Welcome to Say Like a Champ, episode 260. It's your boy A-Dub.
Hey, boy, Shrizzy, what's up? SLAC fam, welcome back, guys.
Back in the building, and this time on a pre-recorded version of Say Like a Champ. Got some things going on later this evening, so we're not going to be able to bring it to you live as we normally do, but we want to obviously keep our streak going. You know, this is what we do every single week, and we do appreciate you slackers watching. Please keep the comments coming. Maybe we'll pop up in the comments here and there, but please let us know what you're thinking about these stories as always. And then if you're listening later, thank you for your support on the audio podcast, Apple Podcasts. Our numbers are going up, so much appreciated there. Strizzy, what's good, man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. You know what I'm saying? It's been dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had my birthday last Thursday. My daughter's birthday was 2 weeks before that. So and then like everyone in the house got sick too. It just kind of ran through us. It's like all like one at a time getting sick. So glad everyone's finally getting better and feeling healthy. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Football season also right around the corner. Literally, I think we got week 0 is this week for college, right? Or is it next week?
Yeah. There's gonna be like 2 or 3 games this week.
Yeah. So we got week 0 for NCAA football, which is big. So just excited. You know what I'm saying? Just super excited, and everything's going straight, man. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. As always, it's funny like how the three of us too on this show, like we're not very like birthday oriented, or we're not very like attention like spotlight. Right. But definitely, I did want to give this Slackers an opportunity to wish you a happy birthday as well. And I really hope you had a great time last week. I know it's all about your daughter pretty much the month of August for sure, but it's still got to celebrate you in there too. So happy birthday to my brother there for sure. But yeah, man, things are going good over here. Getting prepared for some of our own life changes, which is going to be crazy, but we'll talk
right.
about more of that later. But yeah, just time is flying, and definitely excited for football season to come back. That just really ramps things up around here. But this is probably one of our lower content weeks as far as like sports stories. We have some things to talk about, but nothing too crazy since we met last week. So we'll go ahead and get into it. Let me pull up the graphics and all that. But definitely also too, I did want to say I'm glad that you're feeling better. I know last week you were like, man, the whole family down. It's crazy though, these school years, man. Like,
bro, I'm telling you, no one in the family got sick all summer. I'm talking nobody. First 3 weeks of school, everybody in the house got sick. So like, it's just crazy, man. Like, wash your hands. You know what I'm saying? Wash your hands.
Exactly. The cooties flying around, man. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to jump into some NFL news. It's been great seeing the preseason action going on, and we actually have a couple of announcements as far as some of those QB1 battles we've been talking about. Gardner Minshew there. I just put this picture because I didn't know if you saw this, but they were kind of making fun of him. It's like when they did their promo shoot for this year, like all of his photos look goofy, like he's like a wrestling character or something like that. Like he didn't take any like serious photos, but I guess that's kind of him. Yeah. I am surprised he got the start. Neither him or Aiden O'Connell played very well in the preseason so far, but he is being named the starter. Do you have a problem with that, or are you okay going with kind of like the more steady veteran?
I think I'm very okay with going with the more steady veteran. There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, I think Aiden O'Connell didn't show us anything last year where we're just like, oh no, you're the guy going forward. Mm-hmm. I think even when they drafted him, you know what I'm saying, I feel like he was kind of like a just in case draft guy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they still had Jimmy G. They were hoping Jimmy G was going to turn out for him, and he didn't. And if we're being honest, like I feel like Gardner Minshew has played very well in backup situations when the starter goes down. So on top of that, I think the Antonio Pierce also too. Like I hate to say it because he did so well when he took over last year, but I almost feel like his job is kind of already on the hot seat.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
like he's got to build right away. Yeah,
exactly. So I think for him, he's definitely got to go with the guy who's just more naturally ready. You know what I mean? They still have a number one receiver in the league. They got a really sweet tight end from Georgia, in Bowers, and And they still have some, Crosby on the defensive side of the ball. So, like, I wouldn't necessarily say they're in win now mode, you know what I mean? But they kind of are. So I'd agree. Like, if I was Pierce, I'd go with Minshew as well.
Yeah, I can see it definitely. Like, you're right. That's a great point. Like, Aiden O'Connell, they never drafted him like, oh, this is going to be our quarterback of the future. They just drafted him developmental, like, let's make this guy into a solid backup,
Right.
And that seems like the role that might be best fit for him. And so, yeah, they can see what they got in Gardner Minshew. But I do think they're going to be quarterback shopping next offseason. So either way, that this is like, okay, let's be stable. Let's see if we can improve on last year and then maybe take our big leap, coming up. So I think that is a little bit more safe for Pierce, like to make sure that he's got, a veteran that he can trust a little bit more. Like you said, to keep his job fresh. Jaden Daniels for the Commanders. We know this was pretty much a given. This was one of those quarterback battles that we didn't really think was a true battle, but he's officially been named the starter.
As he should be.
As he should be, right? He's played pretty well in the preseason, just a little bits that we've seen him.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Commanders' outlook? They're in a tough division, but they have some pieces. What are you thinking about the Commanders?
Dude, I'll be completely honest with you, and I know Pops is going to get me, and you know what I'm saying, you might even get me a little bit too, but if the Commanders perform the way they can perform on paper, I think they come in second, in the division. And I hate to say it, but I think the Eagles win it. I just have this odd feeling that the Cowboys are going to fall off a little bit this season. Like, instead of the kind of 13 wins that they have, I think they go kind of 10-6 or 10-7, however the thing goes this year. I just feel like off season they literally made no moves. Struggling right now with the CD Lamb stuff and his contract stuff, and I think the offense. You think you lost a big piece on the offensive line as well. So no running backs. You bring Zeke back, but you know how that goes.
Yeah,
exactly. And I feel like in regards to the coach, I feel like if everything's perfect, it's great. But right now, nothing's perfect. So I don't know. I worry for y'all a little bit this year. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit, not a lot, but just be a little bit. And I feel like if they just play I feel like the Rook doesn't even have to play like outstanding. If the defense comes back as good as they were last year, they made a ton of offensive changes. Like, they have so many different offensive weapons now they can go to. They've got a number one and then a number two receiver that you could possibly be a number one. They got Austin Eckler from and they still have, was it Brian Johnson? I think his name is
Robinson. I think it was
Robinson. Yeah, Robinson. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, so they got two really good running backs that can both run and catch the ball. If he just, it's funny. Like, Dak's rookie season, I think the Cowboys won like 13 games that year, and I think Dak had like 4 interceptions, but he had like 19 or 20 touchdowns. Like, he had he just had a really solid year as a rookie. If he just has a year somewhat like that, man, I see them having also a 12-win season. Their schedule is not that difficult. You know what I mean? So like, if they get and they have a good coach and a defensive-minded coach. So I don't know, man. Like, I worry a little bit about the Cowboys this season. And if they can just play to their potential, they could challenge, I think, the Eagles for that division. You know what I mean? But it is going to be very competitive. Cowboys have 13 and 4 or 5 the last 3-4 seasons, something like that. So
12-5,
yeah. So 12-5, yeah. So they're not going to fall off that bad. But I think this division went from Cowboys and Eagles, you know what I mean, and the other two to really between those 3 teams it should be really competitive. And I still have the Giants being super dead last, but those 3 I think should be very, very competitive.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Giants will be trash, but I think that division definitely is a tougher race.
100%.
And yeah, like the Commanders, I think they are kind of like a sneaky competitor. Like, maybe not a big contender, but kind of how like when Dan Campbell went to the Lions, like you saw like the immediate boost, right? And you saw like the trajectory they were on. Mm-hmm. I feel like the Commanders are kind of in that same situation with having a guy like Dan Quinn. He gets a lot. He's like a very motivating coach, and I can see him getting more from those guys that were there last year. Plus, like you said, they made a lot of additions.
Yeah.
They kind of went out and got a lot of his guys on the defense that know his scheme. They got some more weapons. And they have, what was it? Cliff Kingsbury went to take their offensive coordinator job. So he's going to be pretty creative. He can put together an offense, and with Dan Quinn having a steady defense, And the other element that's going to help them is Dan Quinn has already been working against the NFC East just from the Cowboys standpoint.
Exactly.
But he knows how to stop the Eagles. He knows now, especially how to play against the Cowboys because he's inside. He's got the inside track on them. So I do feel like the Commanders can be a sneaky good one, and I think that Jaden Daniels is in a good spot. If he plays, like you said, at least average, solid, not a lot of mistakes, and then has some of those flash plays, they could be like a team that surprises a lot of people this year.
I think if they run the ball as much as they throw it, they're solid. They're great. If they try to make Daniels, a number one quarterback off rip, then then they might struggle a little bit. But if they can really get him in just really solid pass situations, his receivers are going to get like he's walking into almost a Caleb Williams type situation.
Right.
Like they went out and they got Caleb Williams all the offensive weapons he could ever possibly want at the running back and wide receiver positions, and they really did the same thing for him as well. Like I said, he's got great running backs. He's got some really solid. He's got not even solid. He's got some pretty damn good receivers on his side as well. And he said, and if they run the ball, let those running backs do what they do, and if the offensive line holds up, I don't see them not being good. You know what I mean? But it is Washington, as Pops always says. You know what I'm saying? It definitely is Washington. So. But there's a lot of positive that's there that they should really be able to build upon.
I agree. So we'll see. I'm not necessarily rooting for them, but I am keeping my eye on them for sure.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not rooting for everything. I care less about the Commanders. I see the team on paper and it's like he made a lot of moves. Like they were like, let's get our quarterback in here and we'll do the rest of the offseason. And they made up some super solid moves.
Yeah, most definitely. Another lots of positives. Bo Nix, he's been doing really well in preseason. And I know we talked about the Broncos schedule already. I think we did their schedule, and I think we had them winning 2 or 3 games because their schedule is brutal.
Yeah.
But there is some silver lining with Bo Nix going in there. I think he's going to be great. I think, like we've talked about, he's mature. He's older than some of these other quarterbacks that have been in the league a couple of years now.
Good time.
But he's looking pretty good. You're impressed with him so far?
I am. I think a lot of times people take for granted staying in college for multiple years, right? Because no matter how much experience you have in the sense of like playing your position in college or even in the NFL, like the older you get, just the wiser you get in general on everything, right? Yeah. Not just sports, but the older you get, the wiser you get in everything. So, you come in at an older age, you're already just more advanced mentally than a lot of the guys that you're coming in with. And I think that plays huge dividends for him at the quarterback position, which is one of the most important, if not the most important position in the league. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was a great place to, for him to get to, you know what I mean? But, I think his age is going to play way more of a positive than it is a negative in this. So I don't know, man, like their schedule is brutal. And I'd say they don't necessarily have the greatest offense right now. But I think he's going to be okay. Like I think he has a better year this year than Bryce did last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like more things to build off of. More
100%. 100%. I do. I really do. I think he has a better season. And if they win 3 games, they won more games. You know what I'm saying? So he only won 2 games last year. So you know what I mean? Like it's. He's got a lot going for him. I think it was smart for him to. We gave him a lot of poked fun a little bit at his age, going into the league, but it's definitely going to benefit him for sure.
Yeah. And as we know, like you talk about, like the maturity, how you handle things off the field, how you deal with change, how you kind of just get yourself set up mentally, like what you're focusing your priorities on is like, it definitely does change as you get a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and a little bit more stable. So I think that's going to help him through, and I think he'll be fine. Even if they do have a terrible year and they only win 2 or 3 games, like it's not going to mess with his psyche to the point where, he's going to be like a Ryan Leaf or something like that. So
definitely.
All right, that's what's up. We'll see a couple more quarterback battles probably being decided as we head into next week. This is the last week of preseason, and then we'll have that little gap. So, I think most of the dress rehearsals are done, and really now teams are just focusing on getting down to that 53-man roster and making their cuts. So, we'll see. Another interesting piece of NFL news, Matthew Judon traded from the Patriots to the Falcons. And it's pretty crazy. He had this contract dispute. He didn't feel like his number, which I think was at $7 million, was basically was at the same value of what he brings to the table. So he was kind of a little bit dissension there in camp, but was kind of showing up, walking through, but still made it known that he wanted a new contract. Now he was traded to the Falcons for a 3rd-round pick, and immediately upon landing in Atlanta, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to ask for a new contract. I'm just going to play under this contract," which I respect his perspective, but I'm wondering now if it had more to do with New England and not being there on like how poorly they looked the last couple of years and not just being on that team than the actual money, because he's made money in the league. He's pretty paid. But he basically immediately was like, look, the Falcons don't know me. I have to earn that contract. I can't demand more money. So I'm just going to work hard and earn it, which is like, I'm sure as a Patriots, you're like, where was that thing? Like,
yeah, exactly. Right.
Now the money's not an issue. But I don't know, man. I don't want to say I feel bad for the Patriots. Like, obviously over the past 20 years, like with Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, they've had tremendous success. So I don't feel bad for them, but I am interested to see like where they go from here, because it just feels like the luster is gone. The prestige is gone. Both of those guys we mentioned are gone. So where do the Patriots go from here? Is my question. Like, I'm curious to see how that looks.
Yeah, I feel like once you're, it takes a lot to get a guy like a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning type player, right? That literally changes your organization, right? Like for years, like not just, like for years. Like I think you said you got, Bill Belichick as well. So it's like, how long is it going to be before you get lucky again? Because that's what it is. It's luck. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like you're lucky enough to have. Tom Brady wasn't a first draft pick guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like not even close to that. So like it's one of those things where it's like it's going to be a little while, especially too because nobody wants to really go there either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like even like free agency, like no one's like, yo, get me to the Patriots. Like I want to get to the Patriots. Because for the last couple of years, they've had a super crappy offense. They have no quarterback, and even the defense has really been kind of lacking. You know what I'm saying? Like to an extent.
So they're always on the field.
Exactly. It's not pretty no more. You know what I mean? Like when you have Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, you hear all the rumors of like, oh, it's hard to play there because of the demand, the demand from Belichick and from Kraft and Brady. You know what I mean? But you win. You know what I mean? But
right.
At the end of the day, you're always in Super Bowl contention, right? It's not like that no more. So you know what I mean? So when you're trying to get good, top free agents, and they're just like Matthew Judon, like at what point in time you would have been like, you want to play for the Falcons? Or you want to play for the Patriots? And he was like, send me to the Falcons. You know what I mean? So
like 5 years ago, that wouldn't have been the
exactly never. So you know what I mean? Like I'm with you, man. I'm curious to kind of see like how long they're going to be down for. You know what I mean? Like because if Drake May doesn't show out, like oh wait, yeah, they got Drake May, right?
Yeah,
they got Drake May. So they thought Dak was going to be it. He wasn't. Now you got Drake May. If he ends up not turning out to be the guy that you want or fits, the new coaching styles, style play, there might be a minute.
Yeah.
It might be a long minute.
Yeah, exactly. Like their whole level of excellence and that standard has quickly changed.
Yeah.
But we'll see if we get back to that, because I just don't know, if they have the guys to get back to that. I'm rooting for Gerard Mayo, like as a coach, but
right.
It's like, yeah, it's a different luster, you know what I'm saying? It's a different grind when you're not winning the same. The last little news I have here is Tua and Brian Flores. So I don't know if you saw these comments, but I'm interested to hear the Slackers' opinion on this. Please let us know what your thoughts were. But Tua being very candid and open about his time under Brian Flores versus his time now under Mike McDaniel. And, basically just called out coach for basically just like mentally diminishing him, talking about he didn't belong there. He wasn't good enough. And basically called Flores, like, he said, like, when you have this terrible person telling you these things and in your head, like, it's hard not to have it affect you. And that Mike McDaniel's had to kind of undo some of that damage that was done under his previous coach. Mm-hmm. I can see his perspective. I don't think Brian Flores is a terrible person, because I think it's just coaching styles are very different. And I also think that Brian Flores didn't want to work with somebody like Tua. He wanted like a more ready-made quarterback that was going to be able to step in and do everything. Versus Mike McDaniel, he has the offensive mind of like, I can make it work with anybody. Like my teams, like Tua was never going to have the success he had, like even last year leading the league in passing, like under a coach like Brian Flores. Like it just didn't mesh there. But what did you kind of think of this? And what is your like coaching style? Do you think it comes down to coaching style, or do you think it comes down to like the player personality, or what do you think was the issue here?
I think all the above, right? But first and foremost, on what Tua said, I also don't think Flores is a bad coach. I don't think he's a mean person. I don't think he was bullied. I think I stand 10 toes down on this. Tua sucks. I'm sorry, bro. Like you're not very good, dog. Like it is true. And you have a really weak arm. You're injury prone. And if I also feel like and he basically like he was on his way out. Like he was like, we got to trade him. We need to get someone who can actually play the role of quarterback. And if it wasn't for his firing and Mike McBride coming in and saying, keep him, just do everything you can to get me Tyreek Hill.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. So they threw everything and more at Tyreek Hill than even what he was expecting. And a lot of times I think a lot of people only watch like box scores, right? They just look at like what the end result was, and Miami winning. But they don't really actually look at the way players perform. Because I was a player, I always watch how players perform. And when you look at Tyreek Hill, or the other what's the other the speedy receiver on the opposite side? I'm forgetting his name, but another speedy receiver. They're constantly having to catch up to his balls or stop and run back to his balls by being underthrown on deep routes or being overthrown on flat routes. You know what I'm saying? So
Waddle.
Waddle, Jalen Waddle. So if you don't have those type of guys on top of two of probably the best running back duo in the league, Monster's getting a little bit older, but Arcane, the rookie from last year, is an absolute monster. Monster led the league in rushing touchdowns last year, and you know what I'm saying? They're just both phenomenal, so that really helped too. What was that game? They had like 7 combined rushing touchdowns in that 63 win or something like that.
Yeah. I think it was against the Broncos. They beat them down like that.
Yeah, they murdered them last year, right? So, like, I just feel like if it weren't for McDaniels coming in and giving you the best receiver in the league, because he is, I feel like exactly like he's out. Like, you know what I mean? I think the Dolphins are still like, sorry, dog, like you don't cut it. No Tyreek Hill. He probably doesn't get another year after the McDaniels, maybe, because McDaniels is a very, very intelligent offensive coordinator type mind. So maybe he still keeps him as a starter, but Tua, aside from last season, has never really been very good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I see where Tua's coming from, because that's probably not what you want to hear, but it's not like Flores was really saying anything that wasn't necessarily true. And I don't think he was really just like bullying him, like, man, you suck. I wish I had anybody else on this team but you. Like, I'm sure he wasn't telling him stuff like that. But, when you start hearing your name in trade rumors and, we're going to draft another quarterback this year, like, I'm sure that's the type of stuff that sucks. You know what I'm saying? So at a certain point in time, you also got to take accountability for yourself. Like, damn, did I play very well last year? Probably not. Maybe that's why he feels that way. You know what I mean? So I definitely see both sides, but I just don't think that Brian Flores was just out here just like bullying Tua, you know what I mean, and making him feel like he's just a crappy quarterback. I just don't think his arm is there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the mechanics just aren't there for me.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's like it was just a bad mix too. Because Flores also too was not wanting to draft Tua. So exactly. I think that part of that, he might have come off a little bit harsher on Tua because that's not the guy he wanted, and maybe he had more issue with the GM and the ownership group and being forced to deal with somebody. So then you get this guy forced on you that you didn't really want. He's not really performing very well. Exactly. Yeah, you're going to be hard on him, and especially if that's your coaching style is more of a not a soft, saying. So
I've always liked the coaching style of I like the Mike McBrides of the world, right? I like a guy who knows what he's doing, obviously, but also like a player's coach. I give Steve Kerr a lot of shit, right? But I love him as a coach, right? he's the type of coach that you want as a player. Someone who's gonna, pick you up when you're down instead of bringing you down when you're down, right? Like he's a player's coach. He's the guy you can come and talk to like he's your friend, not necessarily your coach. And not all coaches are like that. You know what I mean? So, I like McBride as a coach. I think he did everything he possibly could for Tua. You know what I mean? And letting Tua keep a starting job in this league, right? Like he gets traded away, he's probably a backup. You know what I mean? Unless he goes somewhere like, the Panthers 2 seasons ago, he's probably a backup in most positions. So like I kind of prefer the player style coach if you're good at it. But if you're a player style coach and you're all nice and kind of goody, but you're losing, chances are you're getting fired quick. Right. Like you're not gonna have your job for very long. But it just depends.
Yeah, for me it's hard. It's hard to find that. Like I like a little hybrid style. I definitely like the players coach. Yeah, because like that, the Mike McDaniel type of situation where it's like he's gonna put his position, like his players in a position to succeed. He's not gonna ask them to do things they can't do already.
Exactly.
So like you said, like Tua doesn't have the biggest arm, like he's not gonna have him in a position where he's gonna need to rely on his arm. Exactly. It's gonna be more like people being wide open because Tua is very accurate.
He is,
even though he's not very, doesn't have the biggest arm.
Exactly. So, you look at the majority of Tyreek Hill's touchdowns. Most of them come off in a slant or like a mid post. It's never really anything deep. He's just so much faster than everybody. He takes it to the house. You know what I'm saying? So exactly. And I promise you go back and look at every single deep play Tua threw last year. He's coming back to like 90.
Yeah, he's like waiting.
Seriously. So it's like it's nice to have a receiver who can just get open that fast. But if you don't got the arm to get it to him, it don't matter. But it helps because the DB's doing everything he can to catch up, and then Tyreek just hits the brakes and falls behind him, catches the ball,
then goes around him
again. So like, it's just having Tyreek Hill is it's a godsend for him. It'd be godsend for any quarterback. Any quarterback would be lucky to have him. You know what I mean? He definitely could turn a career around. Like he's that good in my opinion. But yeah, man, I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of what Tua said. To me, it just felt like you're just soft, bro. Yeah. like you're soft to me. Like
I kind of get that feeling too. And also too, it's like where Tua's at now versus where he was. Like I'm sure that he still has like that hurt, right? But it's like you made it. Like you got a new coach. Seriously. The best situation for you.
Right.
Like, now where you're at, you just got paid. Now you're one of the top like 10 paid quarterbacks. You make more money than Patrick Mahomes. Like
I know.
At this point.
Crazy.
No need to go backtrack to that place. And I understand why he was being candid and just saying like, man, that was tough times. But also it's like, you don't necessarily need to put someone else down in that same light, you can speak to how happy you are now, how great your situation is. But you don't necessarily need to do the comparison part where I feel like that's the only part where I'm like, that does kind of reveal like that he wasn't tough enough or he wasn't trying to like hear that honesty because Brian Flores wasn't lying at the time. Tua was not performing well. So.
Absolutely, and it's been 2 years. He's had 2 seasons under Mike McDaniels now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's well and gone, dog. Like
yeah, exactly. Let's let that go.
Yeah, it's well gone. Brian Flores out there minding his business, and you bringing his name up. That's crazy.
Exactly. And Brian Flores, I feel like was miserable in Miami for so many different situations. Anyways, all the different stuff that he's was going through with the lawsuit against them. Like they were telling him to lose games and stuff like that. So that wasn't the best version of himself either in Miami. He wasn't really being friendly to anybody.
Sure. For sure. And keep in mind too, they're telling him to lose games so they can probably draft another quarterback.
Right. So they can
know what I'm saying?
Right. That's crazy. Oh man.
If you start backing up them, start thinking about them. They didn't want me neither.
Exactly. Oh man, that's too crazy. But all right. We'll continue to watch the last round of preseason games, and probably next week we'll report on any injuries and stuff like that. And later on in the show, I think we'll hit a few more predictions as well. So that's what's up. Next, NBA talk. So one of the coolest things that came out of the Olympics, and this is really the only big NBA news for this week, but Garshawn Yabusele, who was balling out, right?
Yeah,
in the Olympics.
All Olympics too, not just the gold medal game. He was
exactly like the gold medal game was like the capper and probably the one that most people saw.
Yeah,
but the entire Olympics, man, he was balling out. it was basically him and Wemby show
Yep.
for France. He signed a 1 year, I think it's like $3.5 million deal with the 76ers.
Yeah.
And this is really cool to see because he was in the league. He got drafted by the Celtics, but it never really worked out, never really landed.
Yep.
He went international after a couple of years, has been kind of going around the international circuits. But after seeing the way he balled out, like he's definitely got his grown man body now. He's definitely matured. He's added to his skill set.
Mm-hmm.
And the 76ers, I mean, they already probably had the best offseason in the NBA. And then to add him as like a potential, like you never know, but almost like a scratcher, like you might hit big with this guy too.
Yep.
He's clearly not afraid of NBA competition the way he played against the US. I think this was a sneaky, really good move.
Oh, big time. I think it's weird. Like when I think about his style of play and the way he played in the Olympics, I'm like, I don't know if I could pick a better team for him to go to.
True. Yeah.
I just feel like his attitude, the way he plays, the Philly fans, I just feel like he's gonna be a crowd favorite quick. He's gonna have some really good games where they're hustle plays. He's getting down there, he's bamming, he can shoot the three very well too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's gonna be really. I don't know. I just think it's gonna be really good. I'm with you. It's a sneaky good pickup. You know what I'm saying? Like they went and got him quick too. Like he signed this is like a week and a half ago. Like you know what I'm saying? Like or a week ago or so. Like they got him a while back. So yeah, I'm happy that some of these guys got to showcase their skills and their talents, how good they've gotten, and to see kind of one of the first pieces off the board is actually really dope. You know what I mean? Like there are a couple of the women's players too that I'd actually see kind of get picked up as well to see how well they played. But it's nice to see these guys kind of showcasing their talents and being picked up by the greatest, basketball association in the world.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember watching the tournament. I was like, wait a minute, he was in the league. Like, wait, he's like, wait for. I'm like, dang. So it's cool to definitely see him get his shot. I'm interested to see what Pops thinks about that signing. But like you said, they needed kind of like that help at the power forward-ish. That was probably the only place they didn't have depth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a really nice pickup. So we'll see. I think he's going to get a chance to make an impact for sure.
Definitely.
With that too, I know last week we talked about the Emirates, the Cup or the in-season tournament a little bit. Well, now the entire schedules have been released, and opening night is Tuesday, October 22nd. So we're about 2 months away, I guess, from opening night. Knicks Celtics should be a pretty cool opener. Of course, you got the defending champions. Unfortunately, as it may be, opening the season. And then you got the Lakers and the Timberwolves, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And a couple of years ago, this wouldn't have really mattered, but the Timberwolves have gotten to be really, really good. So that should probably be a really good game as well.
Yeah, I like that. I like that as well. So that'll be the opening night. Obviously, it's a Tuesday, so we'll have to do something special. We'll have some kind of tip-off or some kind of early SLAC Express or something like that, so we can enjoy the games together. But that one will be exciting. And then the following day, Wednesday, October 23rd, every single team is in action. So these two will kind of tip it off, and then we'll get to see everybody popping off pretty soon. But I am interested to see the Knicks, the new look Knicks. I still feel like they're kind of, I don't know if I could really call them contenders though. Even
I know what you mean.
They made. What do you think?
I know exactly what you mean. I do like the pickup, right? It's funny to see like all these Villanova players literally back again, together. So that makes it fun. But it's weird because with all of them playing, they're still really small. Like Julius Randle is still small, and we forget like he missed like the second half of the season last year for them. He missed all playoffs. You know what I mean? So he didn't get to play. So it's weird because Julius Randle is literally double machine. Like he was so good last year when he was healthy. But I almost feel like if they're gonna go that route, you know what I mean? Like you almost trade him for pieces and first round picks. You know what I'm saying? Like
because he's like the odd man out.
Right. I would that's why it sucks with them losing Hartenstein. I think Hartenstein was. I almost feel like you pay him and you trade Julius Randle for another solid backup center and maybe 2 first round picks because the season that he had last year, I'd say he's definitely worth it. So I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work. You know what I mean? Like, but we'll see. They're definitely gonna be I think they're gonna be like the best defensive team in the league. Like from all around defensive team. They're gonna be really hard to score against, and they have a lot of offensive weapons who can score the rock. But I'm with you. Like I just 7-game series. Like, can they really hold against the Celtics? If Miami comes back healthy next year, can they really beat Miami? I don't know. Like, I don't trust Tibbs over Spo or Missoula. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, at full health, I still probably put him fourth, even behind the Bucks in a full season. You know what I mean?
True.
So we'll see.
True. Yeah, that will be interesting, their place in this. But I think it is cool to see them as like some kind of up and comers and see if they can ruin the Celtics ring night. Yeah. And then also I think the Timberwolves is a cool one too, because it's like they kind of peaked early. They kind of overachieved last year, but they have all the pieces in place. So are they going to follow that up and take yet another step forward? Will be interesting to see. So pretty cool stuff there, though. Definitely excited for NBA to come back.
Yeah.
On the WNBA side, since we're talking basketball, some more records falling for our rookies, man. These rookies are really changing the game. Angel Reeves, fastest player to reach 20 double-doubles. So she's got 20 double-doubles in 27 games so far, which is crazy. And she still has a chance, I think, to make a record, because I think there's like 43 games in their season, something like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but they are back in action in the very first game after the Olympic break. She set this record, so she's doing her thing. And then Caitlin Clark as well, most assists by a rookie in WNBA history already at 225. Yeah. And with their extended season, she has a chance. I think the record is like 320 or something like that, and she still has like, I don't know. I think she
gets it, because she's at this point in time now. I know she's not averaging 10 assists a game for the season, but since like for the last like month and a half or so like that, she's been averaging about 10 assists a game. So I think she definitely gets it.
Yeah, that'll be crazy to see if she actually sets an assist record. But I do feel like I think it was that game against the Mercury where she was like one assist away or one rebound away from the triple double.
Yeah,
I feel like something unlocked around then.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy how quickly she adjusted, but only a couple weeks into the season, and she's like, I think she was so focused on getting her shots off that she didn't now she's understanding like, this is how I can make the game come to me. Like her assist is where she can really impact the game even more so, and then it makes her scoring even easier after she's kind of dishing off those dimes. So,
and we talked about it too. We're like, once she gets a hang of the pro level, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? Because now, like you said, her shots are getting so much easier because she's not forcing anything. Now the defenders have to be like, I can't slack off her too much because she'll drain this three in my face. If I get too close, she can go around me. The pick's coming. She's great at pick and roll. She is a phenomenal pick and roll player, and it helps that her fellow rookie is very good at cutting to the basket. So like they've been a really nasty 1-2 punch. But like you said, man, once it like clicked for her, she's damn near been unstoppable. You know what I mean? So they've been really, really good. I know playoffs is a little bit different since they have so many less teams, but I know they were in playoff contention like right before the break. I think they were in the playoffs, but they were last, or they were like a game out of the playoffs. So it was like really, really tricky. But if they don't make the playoffs this year, they're definitely going to make it next year. They're going to be a lot better than they are this year.
I think right now they're in the 7th spot. If the season ended today, they would make the playoffs.
Yeah,
so
okay.
That's a big turnaround from last year being the worst team in the league by far. So it's actually happened pretty quickly. It's come together in Indiana. So shout out to them. Sky, and it's funny, they had a rough start, right?
Yeah,
I think they were like their first couple of games, and there was a lot of that scrutiny and criticism, like those first few games. But I think since I think they started like 1-5, and then since then they've been winning a lot, or had one of the highest winning percentages in the league. So they turned it around pretty quickly.
Yep.
We'll see. The Sky, I think, are just outside looking in, but they have a chance to potentially make the playoffs too. So hopefully both of these teams do make the playoffs, and we'll see a little bit more from them.
That'd be awesome.
And it's nice too. I think it's kind of refreshing for the women, or for the WNBA, that they got the Olympic break off, right?
Yeah.
for for the NBA, all those guys that played, for whichever team they played for, basically used up their whole summer. Right now, they got to turn around and get back.
For sure.
Now everybody that didn't go for the women's, they had a chance to kind of have a couple weeks off. You know what I'm saying? Kind of mid season reset. So
Exactly.
that's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. I do have baseball on here. Just really quickly, Braves again. We talked about it all season. Austin Riley is out with a fractured hand. Got hit by a pitch. So it's like every time, like they could just not stay healthy. Like they've lost like everybody. They're still in contention for a wild card spot, but I wanted to throw these up here real quick. We got the AL and the NL. These are the wild card races. Now on the AL side, you have the Orioles, and they still could end up winning their division. They're right behind the Yankees. I think they're like one game behind the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, if they were to win the division, then the Yankees would take that number one AL wild card spot. But right now, as we're looking at it, the top three on each of these lists would be the wild cards. Really, really excited for my Royals hanging in there. They have a chance to make a run actually at the AL Central and potentially catch the Guardians. That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, the Guardians are kind of falling off a little bit right now. So as long as Kansas City can stay hot, I think they can catch them. I think Guardians started off super hot this year, and then they're kind of falling off towards this midway toward end of the season type deal. So they definitely have a chance for sure.
Yeah, and the Twins also in that same division. It looks like three of those teams from that division are likely to make it in, depending on what happens. But I hope, the Royals can win the division somehow. That would be so dope.
Yep.
And on the other side, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, they're in the same division. They're very close. They're catching up. Well, not exactly catching up, but they're closing the gap on the Dodgers a little bit too.
Yep.
And that's another one that makes intriguing playoff matchups, because when you get so many teams from the same division and you have a 3-game series against, or a 5-game series against, a opponent that so well, like who knows what can happen. Just like the Diamondbacks beating the Dodgers last year to get to the World Series, like wouldn't have happened if they didn't know the Dodgers so well. I think
for sure, and you can get. I know the Dodgers are pretty high up, like they're doing really well, but like say they're kind of like the Braves, but they just have more hitters, right? Like guys are in and out of their lineups too. Mookie Betts just got back. Freeman just got back too. Just last week. So, a lot of these guys are just now getting back as well from being in and out of the lineups and being injured and stuff like that too. So, got to take advantage of those type of things, and like it's really close. You know what I mean? Like Braves are a game or two out from being 1.5 games out from being out of third. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and Mets are playing better now than they did at the start. At the start, I was like, damn, they're not even going to get playoffs this year, and they're around the playoffs too. So it's definitely tricky, man.
It's cool. I think that with baseball, man, it's so obviously playoff baseball is where it's at. But it's getting more exciting these last couple months of the season, only because these races are getting closer and closer. Like not that many teams make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so it is really important to try to get in or sneak in on that wild card. And like you said, like even the Red Sox, they had a really hot start. They've kind of fallen off. The Mets, they had a slow start. Now they're getting hot. Like you can have some really good teams on the outside looking in, come playoff time. So these are some definitely some teams to watch and some races to watch. So we'll be keeping a little bit of a lock in on that, especially when some teams get down to their magic numbers as far as like clinching playoff spots and stuff like that. Let's see real quick. I had golf. Hideki Matsuyama won the first playoff event for the FedEx Cup, which is super dope. Also, he's had like a whirlwind couple weeks. He won bronze in the Olympics.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is super dope. But then his interpreter and like his manager and him, I don't know if you saw this story, they got robbed while they were in Europe. Like after the Olympics, they were robbed. And his caddy and his like manager, like I think it's like his manager / interpreter, whatever, when they all got robbed, they actually lost their passports. And they were not able to come to the States with him for this tournament. So he didn't have his normal caddy for this tournament. Luckily, the only reason why he got to travel was because he had his passport in a different spot. So his passport didn't get taken away, even though his wallet was stolen, some different things were stolen. So what a crazy 2 weeks, but he definitely came through. And they were joking with him about Chick-fil-A. Apparently, he loves Chick-fil-A. So they're joking after they won the tournament. They're like, "Hey, like, are you gonna be able to celebrate?" Like, and he's like, "Oh, I know Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays, so he's like, I'll tomorrow." But that was super dope, and it was like a rare moment where he actually spoke English to the press conference because he can speak English a little bit, but he normally just speaks through his interpreter.
Yeah, it's like that comfort level.
Exactly, but he was comfortable enough speaking about Chick-fil-A, so I thought that was pretty cool, man.
That's pretty funny. I don't even understand like people like rob somebody. It's like why take their passport? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you can't do nothing with that, bro. Like,
right. You're just basically making it an inconvenience for sure.
Seriously, take the wallet, take whatever you got to do, but like, leave the personal
Be
stuff.
a considerate robber. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna make this easier on you. I'm only gonna take the valuable stuff. You know.
Like at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't need to carry around something I got no use for. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's only gonna link you to the robbery because
that's right.
Like having their stuff on you.
As you're running away, you take the cash and drop the wallet because all you're gonna do is cancel the cards or turn them off anyway. Because like you take my wallet, I'm logging onto my account right away, and I can just lock the card. You can't do nothing with it anyway.
That's another thing. Like, it used to be a big thing to steal cell phones back in the day, like when we were in high school and stuff. Like, I don't think that happens anymore, right? Because like it's gonna be shut off by the time you get away. Like,
not to mention, I can find my iPhone.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh snap.
Yeah,
I know exactly where this motherfucker at. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. The game has changed on that side, so. It's like, just stop robbing people. You know what I'm saying? How about that?
Moral of the story. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Stop robbing people.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
All right. The other, not necessarily sad story, but kind of interesting story. Jordan Spieth, his season ended at this first tournament with a whimper. He's been down for the past couple of years, but he's going to have immediate wrist surgery, and he's hoping that is this a lingering injury that's kind of been affecting him for a while that he's hoping he can get fixed. But man, he's been really bad, man. He's fallen off compared to where he was at.
Yeah.
And golf is just so interesting, man, because it's like you see golfers and you're like, oh, there's no reason why they shouldn't be dominant or they shouldn't continue to do well, and they just kind of fall off. Like, it's a really hard sport. It's not just like getting to the top; it's staying at the top. So we'll see if Spieth can make a bounce back.
No, for sure.
All right. I think that was pretty much it we had for our content. Do you want to knock out? Let's do like a couple schedules of NFL predictions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Next week we'll do college when we're all together live. And that'll be kind of the build up to the first college games. For none of the people that we're going to be doing predictions on are playing in the week 0, I think. So
yeah.
No worries there. So let's do the Vikings. The Vikings, they're going to be officially without their rookie, J.J. McCarthy, but they will have our boy Sam Darnold, he stays afloat somehow over and over. Let's do them. I think the black is away and the purple is home for them. So they're starting off at the Giants. That's a W for me.
Think so? Oh, yeah. My bad. Yeah, W. My bad. We're doing the Vikings, not the Giants. Yeah, W for me too. Oh my God, man! Daniel Jones is so bad, man. I've been talking so much. Like he's gonna have a phenomenal year. I've been talking so much crap about him these last couple of weeks, bro.
It's crazy though when it's like that's your starter and it's like a 4-year starter and they're like playing the preseason and looking bad. Like
2 interceptions, one of them a pick 6, and it would have been a safety. Would have been, but I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm one of those guys that looks at players, not necessarily the team as a whole or like the box score, and I'm just like, he's so bad, bro. Even the year they got to the playoffs and won that first round, it's like if he's not running the ball, he can't move their offense at all.
It's funny though that he seems to like have some kind of good favor though, because even that like they still chose to pay him over Saquon.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Sure. Like, and they still like I don't get it.
Me neither at all. Like
and it seems like every offseason they're like, should we go in a different direction? Is it time now? And then they still stick with this guy. So this might be it for him.
Yeah, bro ain't got a season. He gonna be Sam Bradford type. For some reason, he just keep getting paid, but he's horrible.
Exactly. All right. Week 2 against the 49ers. That's a loss for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Week 3 hosting Houston. I think that's a loss as well.
Yeah.
Week 4 at Green Bay.
It's a loss too.
Yeah, tough times right there. Week 5 at home against the Jets. Oh no, they're in London actually.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say they win this game. I don't know why. Probably because it's in London, and I always say the NFL may not be scripted, but it's definitely rigged. and the Giants, as it's one of their bigger franchises, bigger teams. So I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more Giant fans in London than there's Jets fans. So
Vikings though, Vikings.
Oh my bad, yeah, my fault. I keep the Giants, bro. But yeah, I don't know. I think they lose.
The Vikings lose or the Jets?
Yeah. I keep thinking. I was thinking the Giants, but now I'm thinking the Vikings. Now they lose.
Okay. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers will have them by then.
Yeah.
Okay, now they have their bye week, so they're 1-4 going into the bye. Now they're playing against Detroit, so that's a division game at home. That's a loss too, though.
For me too. Yeah.
At the Rams.
It's a loss too.
Dang, they're gonna have a tough year. They have a tough schedule. At home against the Colts.
I think they win that one. They can win that one. Yeah. It's definitely tough too because they don't. It's the quarterback situation.
Yeah, it's hard to know how good Darnold really will be.
Exactly.
I don't think he's gonna take them over the top necessarily. No. At Jacksonville.
Probably a loss.
At Tennessee.
They can beat Tennessee.
Okay. At Chicago.
That's a loss too.
Yeah, I have them splitting maybe against Chicago. So we'll see if they get them on the flip side. But that's going to be tough. 3 road games in a row. That's a tough stretch.
Damn, you're right. Okay, so.
They come home to play the Cardinals. I think they get that one. I'll give them that one.
They definitely can. I don't know why. You go back over the last 3 seasons, and the Cardinals, for whatever reason, just play better away.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Long road trips, get way out of town.
They suck at home, man. You look at their home record over the last 3 seasons; they're horrendous.
Yeah.
If you're a Cardinal fan and you're watching home games, you got to be disappointed because every game you go to, they lose.
Right. Most of the time, it's away fans, anyways, though.
Yeah, that's also true. Very true.
Let's see. At home against Atlanta, this is the Kirk Cousins revenge game. I think that's a loss.
Yeah, me too. Not to mention, I just think Atlanta's going to be a much better team this year than they were last year anyway.
Yeah, I agree. At Chicago or versus Chicago on Monday Night Football.
Split that one. They'll get that one.
So they'll get that one.
Yeah.
Now at Seattle.
It's a loss too.
That's a loss.
Yeah. It's crazy. A lot of these teams were so used to kind of being really decent. They've changed a lot too, but I still think they lose at Seattle.
Yeah. They're still stable enough to handle that.
Yeah.
Versus Green Bay, I think that's another loss, even though it's at home.
Yeah.
And then at Detroit, that's another loss too.
Yeah.
Dang, so we got them at 5-12.
Is that 5 games? Yeah. Let's sneak one more in.
Let me see who we got here. Let me see if I can see the taskbar real quick. Oh, who we got here? Let's just do it like this. We got all these schedules ready.
Let's just do the Giants. Did we do the Giants yet?
No, I don't think we did. Let's do them.
Yeah, fuck them out.
Okay.
Trash.
Trash, exactly.
Trash.
So that should be quick. Okay, let's do this. New York Giants.
Yeah, we had them losing week 1.
Yeah. Losing week 1, week 2 at the Commanders.
Yeah, that's a loss too. I don't know. I think both of these teams got to prove to me, but if I'm thinking who's better right now, it's Commanders by far.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see, week 3 at the Browns.
That's a loss.
That's a tough one. That's a loss.
Yeah.
Week 4 at home against the Cowboys. That's a loss.
That's too.
I mean, Dak has just owned the Giants. Really.
Yeah, for real.
He's done so good against the division. So
that's true.
Away at Seattle.
Probably a loss too.
It's probably another loss.
Mm-hmm.
Week 6 at home against the Bengals.
That's a loss too.
Yeah, because especially by week 6,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you would have caught them in week 1 or 2, maybe.
Eagles. That's a loss.
Yep.
At home against the Eagles. away against the Steelers. That's probably another loss.
I feel like it is, but I'm like, when they go get their first dub by being the Panthers, dog.
Okay.
Or maybe they split one with the Commanders at this late in.
Okay, I got you. Let's see. So, but yeah, still we're saying a loss though with the Steelers. Yeah. So yeah, at home against the Commanders. I don't know. I still think that's a loss.
I just feel like, dude, they suck, man. I'm telling you, it's horrible.
All right. So in Germany against the Panthers, you want to give them that as their first win?
That's the one. I don't know why, but I'm really worried about the Panthers, dog. I'm really worried about them this year.
I got you. Let's see. After the bye week, they come home to get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's another loss.
Away at the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
It's a loss.
It's a loss. Don't mess this up for us, Cowboys. At home against the Saints.
They win that one.
They can do that one.
They should have been way better last year than they were. They just
I know. I think that was telling.
Mm-hmm.
At home against the Ravens, that's a loss.
A blowout.
At the Falcons,
it's a loss too. Maybe if they were home against the Falcons, maybe.
Right. Home against the Colts.
They win. Maybe they win that one.
Okay.
I don't think the Colts are going to be very good next year. They got some growing. Anthony Richardson basically missed his whole rookie season last year, so he's got some growing pains to do too.
Right. They still got to boost back up.
Yeah.
So we'll give them the Colts, and then away at the Eagles.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Another loss.
That's another loss. They get swept by the Eagles.
Yeah.
So now that puts them at 3-14.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch. I think that's about right, though.
Oh yeah. I feel like that first Eagles game too, even though it's home, like Saquon's gonna go crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with one of the best offensive lines. They still have one of the best offensive lines, even without Kelsey.
True.
So it's like, man, Saquon's gonna go crazy. Bet that man's overs.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna be on a mission that game.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's what's up. So we got the Giants. We snuck them in there right under the wire. That's perfect. I'll update that one. But let's go ahead and go full view. So next week we'll be back our regular scheduled programming for episode 261. I can't believe next week is already our last show in August, and pretty much the last show before college football and the second to last before NFL. So we getting ready to take off. Do we have a date for the fantasy draft, right?
Yeah, I think it's the weekend before the actual starts. I think it's the 30th.
Okay. All right. So let us know if you still need more players or if you got that.
No, I do. So I was thinking like if we want to see if Unc, Moms, and Kelly want to jump in.
Okay.
Or even Stephanie as well. Like we could definitely put them in. Like I got some players in there too that I'm like not really sure they're gonna really compete. So I might as well just take them out now.
Gotcha.
So like check with Moms and Kels if they want to do. I'll reach out to Stephanie and see if she wants to jump in.
Okay, cool. And I think Earthly was interested as well too.
Oh yeah, Earth as well. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we'll get that coordinated. So then that way next Tuesday we'll know, like we'll either have reached out to you or we'll know exactly how many spots there are. But yeah, exciting times. Appreciate you rocking with us. We almost made it through the doldrums of summer. We're that close. Exciting times around here. But thank you as always for rocking with us. And a big shout out to our brother Mad Marcus. Some of you may have seen what he's going through, but as we say every single week, we appreciate his support. We love him. We're with him and with us in everything we do. So
definitely
big shout out to him. He's in our thoughts and prayers, and we'll just keep it moving. But I'm sure that we'll be seeing him real soon. So I know you guys miss him as much as we do.
Yeah.
But there we have it. That was episode 260 of Say Like a Champ. It's your boy A-Dub.
And your boy Shrizzy.
Peace.